Hi, this is Zak Mir with the US Chartbreakers for Sunday, the 23rd of April. Starting off as usual with the S&P 500, where still haven't obviously broken that line of resistance from August, 4160, and required on an end-of-day close basis to take us to the top of that rising trend channel from October, around 4250 by the end of next month. And ideally, there's no break back below 4110 or so recent support ahead of a potential break of that 4160 boundary. On the downside, if we do go below 4110, then we've got the risk of a test of the 50-day moving average around 4030. Ideally, there'd be no breakback below 4080, which was the nearer support there earlier this month. On to the stocks, and starting off with a new name. First one is Achieve Life Sciences, and here, beautiful turnaround here, sort of Thursday, Friday handbrake turn there for the shares. I'm near the floor of that rising trend channel from September, above the 50-day moving average, which is always nice, and basically testing old February support as new resistance, closing at a near-term high, and above the $7.80 zone, looking for $10 as soon as the end of next month. And the way things are going, hopefully a little bit sooner than that. On to another stock which is showing a reasonable promise at the moment, and here we have ALX Oncology breaking the 50-day moving average around the $5.80 level, and also breaking back above the old June support there, so 580 plus, and we're looking for really a return to the resistance line there from August last year, as high as $10 by the end of next month. Stop loss at the moment, neckline resistance around the $5.30 area, but ideally we don't even go back below $5.80 as old support becomes new support for this situation. Moving on to a rather interestingly named company, Brainstorm Cell, and here we see the extended support for the shares at and just below the 200-day moving average, $2.60 or so. Above that, we're looking for the shares to hit the top of that rising trend channel from August as high as $5 over the next 4 to 6 weeks. The plus points here, apart from the ongoing support at the 200-day line, is the way the 50-day line is rising, and recent RSI support has been above the neutral 50, so it looks as though this situation is poised to break to the upside. In fact, the break in the form of a break of that resistance line from earlier this month looks like it is already on its way. Moving on to stock which I covered recently, and it's back again, which is normally good news. Baxter International breaking through the 50-day moving average around the $41.60 area, and really since then new support, new resistance coming in around 43.70. Above that, we're looking for $50 as soon as the end of next month, as this situation starts to gather momentum. We've already closed above the old gap there from February, so that's a gap closed buy signal, which underpins the idea of a fresh gap fill up there to the January gap and the 200-day moving average near that $50 area. The next situation that catches our eye, if that's not a pun, is Eyepoint Pharmaceuticals. Here we've broken back above the old October resistance around the $8 level, and above that looking for a resistance line projection from this time last year, basically as high as $15 or $16 as soon as the end of next month. But the key here really holding the $8 area, which makes the risk reward on this relatively attractive, even though there's already been big gains. Obviously, the key time there on that chart was the break of the resistance line there from back in January around the $2.50 level, which was obviously a perfect entry point there. Moving on to a situation which is certainly one that one should keep an eye on at the moment as well. Here we've got Icosavax, and here it's like a falling wedge situation. We've got bullish divergence going into the shares just hitting that line of resistance from back in February. Want to see an end-of-day close really through the $6.20 area. If we can get that, then we'll be looking for a retest of the best levels of the year to date through the $12 zone. In fact, the best case scenario here would be a move up to the $14 area, maybe by the end of June. But the key here is that we break through $6.20 or so after the bullish divergence that we've had there with a higher low for early 2023, which is where we are now. Moving on to a stock which has been covered in the last few days, ImmunityBio. Here breaking the neckline resistance around $2, breaking the 50-day moving average currently around $2.20. Initial target here up to $3.30, which is that resistance line there from the end of December. Big picture target maybe by the end of June as high as $5, which is the top of the rising trend channel from January. Lyft is next, and here we've had some rather more modest moves, but certainly solid moves for the shares. The reason for saying that is that we've got a rising trend channel off the lows, the floor of the channel around the $10 area at the moment, just around the $9.80 area to be precise. Above that, we're looking for the top of the channel there from back in February as high as $13.70 to be hit by the end of next month, and we're happy with that weekly close above the 50-day moving average, which is the first time since February as well, so reasonably well placed there on Lyft. And also we have an RSI bounce off the neutral 50 level, which tends to be a good continuation signal. Oblong is next, and partly because we've been covering this quite a lot recently, so here we are following up on that here. Bit of jiggery-pokery between the 50 and 200-day lines. We're looking for a break of the $3 level to give us $4.50 by the end of next month, and obviously hoping that the price action won't fall below the neutral 50 level on the RSI or the $2 area in terms of the price itself. Stock which I'm very happy to see has risen after recent coverage here is Presto Automation. Here we've gapped up above the 50-day moving average. We've got a V-shaped bull flag above the previous gap there, so that's an on-fill gap to the upside. 230 the line in the sand there. Above that, looking for $6.30, and ideally there's not even an end-of-day close back below Friday's low at $2.85, ahead of that $6 target by the end of May. Another face from the recent past here is Vectivbio, and here we've got a good breakout through the $9.25 area. Above that, we're looking for a considerable move within a rising trend channel, which has been in place for more than a year, basically 2 years, in fact, nearly. $14 a target here by the end of next month, while we hold above that $9.20 area, which has been recent stubborn resistance for the stock. A couple of stocks to go now. One is one that I covered just during the week, and it's good to see it back again with a rather unlikely second on-fill gap to the upside. Here the message is now that while we're above the intraday low of Friday, $42.60, we should head up to as high as $48 over the next couple of weeks, and it would be nice if the shares could just take that out over the next week. This stage only really back below the Thursday resistance around $42.60, really delaying the upside scenario. Finishing off with new stock for this particular sweep, we've got Westwood Holdings, and gap higher after a rather a sort of bear trap effect on Thursday gives us confidence that above $11.60, 50 and 200-day moving averages, we should see the resistance line there from July last year as high as $14.60 over the next 2 to 4 weeks. That's it from me today. More updates tomorrow.